Today, I am literally going to walk into a painting. So, forget museums and follow me on this epic journey. I am about to step inside the brushstrokes of Claude Monet himself, through flowers, light, and a little magic. And all this in Singapore style. Let me ask you this. Have you ever looked at a painting and thought, wow, I wish I could just live in that scene for a moment? Welcome to Impressions of Monet, at the Flower Dome in Gardens by the Bay, in Singapore. It is crowded today, and it's really a hot day, but luckily for us, the entire flower dome we just entered is temperature controlled, so it's cool and comfortable inside. Monet once said, "My garden is my most beautiful masterpiece." And spoiler alert, his garden has been brought all the way from Giverny in France, to this giant futuristic greenhouse in Singapore. And everything around me looks like it came straight out of Monet's dreams. If you're into gorgeous gardens, art that comes alive, or you just want to pretend you're in a fairy tale for 10 minutes, then stick with me. I'm also on a mission to find the perfect Monet moment for Instagram. And while we're at it, let me know in the comments. If you could walk into any painting, which one would it be? Before we get too deep into this pastel wonderland, let's rewind a bit and find out more about the man behind all this floral madness. Claude Monet is French, but he is also fabulous, and honestly, kind of an artsy rebel. He's the father of Impressionism, which basically means that he ditched boring details and said, you know what? I'm gonna paint what I feel, not what I see. But here's the tea. When Monet first exhibited his work in the 1870s, critics absolutely hated it. One guy called it just an impression, not art, and that's how Impressionism got its name. Now, what made Monet different wasn't just his brushwork or light obsession, but it was how he saw nature. The man was obsessed with gardens. And he actually moved to this tiny French village, just to build his dream garden so he could paint it every single day. He'd wake up at 4 a.m. to catch the way the light hit his water lilies, and then paint the same spot dozens of times, just to capture the mood. So you can imagine, this exhibition, hosted at the Gardens by the Bay, is the perfect way to pay homage to this great artist. Monet had cataracts later in life, and therefore, some of his last paintings are literally seen through foggy vision. Can you imagine painting a masterpiece when you can barely see? I struggle to draw eyeliner evenly with perfect vision. Monet didn't just paint flowers. He turned nature into emotion. This whole dome today, it's like stepping inside his mind. And while I have my lunch at one of the amazing restaurants at the Gardens, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, if you have not done so yet. And in case you missed out our 5 episodes mini-series called The Real Rome, do make sure you catch it, and I'll leave the links to it in the description below. Monet wasn't just a painter. He was a poet with petals and paint. And today, we're walking through the legacy he left behind. It's peaceful, romantic, a little dreamy, and just wait till you see how they've recreated his actual garden. Inside the Monet-style house installation within Gardens by the Bay, there are curated furniture, paintings, floral displays, vintage palettes, and quotes on the walls. Right now, we're basically trespassing into Claude Monet's living room. Except there is no angry French neighbors, no muddy garden boots, but just a full-on recreation of his home, right here in Singapore's gardens by the bay. So I ask you again, have you ever walked into a painting? Because that's exactly what this feels like. You've got the cozy French country vibes going on, vases spilling over with blooms, that kind of beautiful chaos where you're not sure if it's a painting studio, a greenhouse, or just a man who is really mad about gardens. Monet was low-key obsessed with Japan, which kind of shows in his compositions too. And if you look around here, they've tried to echo that same spirit. If I ever decorated our gardens like this, my husband would lose his mind. This is Rue Claude Monet, inside the gardens by the bay. It's arts meets kitchen drama, and on the left, you've got copper pans hanging like they're about to drop the hottest new cookbook. Above the pans, paintings. Because why hang spices when you can hang Impressionism, am I right? Can you imagine waking up to 12 flower arrangements, 6 paintings of the same pond, and a giant mirror framed in daisies? But for Monet, this was life. This house wasn't just his studio, it was his muse. He literally designed his garden like a canvas. Alright, this is where things get cerebral. And we just walked into a gallery room that basically feels like an art history textbook exploded on the walls. You've got this stunning timeline from the 1860s all the way through the evolution of art movements, from neoclassicism, romanticism, realism, all laid out like it's a runway of paint and rebellion. And if you're wondering, who exactly was this Monet guy? Born in 1840, in Paris, and raised in Le Havre, our boy was obsessed with light, nature, and catching fleeting moments on canvas. The name Impressionism actually came from a critic making fun of his work Impression, sunrise. We entered another room, dimly lit, with flowers everywhere. And if Monet threw a garden party at midnight, this would be it. And then, we walked into the big reveal. It's another room where the walls, the floor, even the ceiling, are covered in moving Monet masterpieces. It's like we stepped into his brain. And spoiler, it's glorious. You've got water lilies blooming in 360 degrees, bridges appearing and disappearing in golden light, reflections dancing on the walls. Honestly, it felt like we were floating through a dream, after drinking a lavender tea. Tell me honestly, have you ever seen art this way? Would you rather look at a static frame or be inside one? Comment below if you'd lie down here with a pillow and just zone out for 3 hours. But then the show ended, and a few steps further, I found myself back into reality, back into the gift shop. But hang on, we are not done yet, there is even more to see. And I know I've said this like 4 times already, but now it really feels like we've walked into one of Monet's paintings. There's a gentle chaos in the way the flowers are arranged, which, by the way, is exactly how Monet liked it. It's not just about how it looks, but also how it smells. The scent of blooming roses, lavender, and something that smelled suspiciously like soap from a fancy French hotel. Surprise bonus round, because how do you leave gardens by the bay without seeing the waterfall? Welcome to the cloud forest, and there it is, the world's tallest indoor waterfall, right in front of us, looking like something out of Avatar meets Jurassic Park. I swear, if you ever wanted to literally walk through clouds without climbing Everest, this is it. They've built this massive mountain inside the dome, complete with secret caves, lush vertical gardens, and this high-up catwalk where you basically feel like a very fashionable jungle explorer. So we've just stepped out of Monet's dreamy wonderland and walked straight into what looks like a tropical rain cloud collided with a jungle temple. This time, the cloud forest is celebrating a Cambodia theme, and it's stunning. They've recreated parts of Angkor Wat, complete with mini replicas and carvings that look way too real. The dome runs rotating cultural themes, and this one's a tribute to the lush, spiritual beauty of Southeast Asia's cloud forests and temples. From Monet's Impressionist brushstrokes to Khmer stone temples, it's like walking through different worlds. We climbed up the mountain trail, which, by the way, is suspended in mid-air, and everywhere you look, there are more plants, more mist, and more mystery. The cloud walk is basically the runway for plants, at 35 meters above ground. It is a suspended walkway that wraps around the Cloud Mountain, which is a 6-story lush green structure covered in exotic plants, ferns, orchids, and mosses from tropical highlands around the world. Mist is released every few minutes to simulate cloud forest humidity. The plants are native to mountain regions like South America, Southeast Asia, and Madagascar, places most of us only dream about visiting. Today, we literally walked into a painting, floated through a French kitchen, got wrapped in flower petals and Monet's brushstrokes, then ended the day inside a cloud. Who knew one morning in Singapore could feel like a full trip across France, Impressionist art, and the mystical jungles of Cambodia, and all in one garden? Impressions of Monet wasn't just about seeing art, but it was about feeling it. And the cloud forest. If heaven had a greenhouse, I think it'd look like that. And hey, if you enjoyed this little visual escape, give this video a thumbs up, tap that bell for more travel stories, and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so that you do not miss out our next video.